Yo, what's going on? It's your favorite black YouTuber, and welcome back to the Goon Podcast. And as you saw, title and thumbnail, female superheroes have been extremely garbage recently. And they've just borderline been feeling like a copy-paste of the male heroes. Naturally, of course, we all know the counterparts. You have Superman, Supergirl, Batman, Batgirl, Iron Man, Ironheart, Hulk, She-Hulk, and all the others. And the thing about this is, their comic counterparts are all fine and dandy. They have more than enough media within the comics to differentiate themselves and actually feel like a different character. But while that's all fine and dandy, what's really the kicker is when they're put on the big screen. Because I'd like to say that now, in recent years, a majority of people who like superheroes don't read comics, hence why they don't know a lot of these characters. So that first impression for when they go on the big screen is very important. Let's use an example. Miles Morales. I'd want to say that this might be the best debut for a superhero. A couple people knew who he was, but when he finally got that one movie, not only was the animation very unique, it fully captured the exaggerated swagger of a black teen. And even though he hasn't been introduced in the MCU live action, people all over the place still know who he is. People who read comics, who don't read, well, of course people who read comics, people who don't read comics, and even people who aren't that into hero movies still know who Miles Morales is. And this could be a sentiment passed around for all of the recent releases, but they've been trash, so let me talk about it. You know I gotta talk about it. I gotta talk about She-Hulk. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. As far as I know, this is her first appearance in the MCU, and while I do think that more than a handful of people do know who She-Hulk is, they don't know who she is. I, being one of those people, the only reason I even know She-Hulk exists is because of a PS3 game over a decade old. It was Marvel vs. Capcom, and I played as her, I beat Ultron, and that was it. And just from what I can barely remember of that memory, she seemed cool. She had like a really strong dropkick, and that's about it. Fast forward to recent years, she's finally making her debut. I've never read any of her comics or anything. I'm interested, kinda. Then I see the reviews, then I see what the show is about, and this is not how you do a debut whatsoever. Her debut, instead of actually trying to build up her character, actually give her a good backstory in the form of this little series. Instead, it was an agenda with She-Hulk just kind of plastered into it. And this is where we go back to this copy-paste thing. You have Hulk, then you have She-Hulk. She-Hulk is just Hulk, but better and perfect. Instead of letting her character cook for years in the oven and letting people actually start to care about the character, she just burst out the gate, immediately masters her form. Instead of it actually being for She-Hulk, about She-Hulk, it really just felt like some random satire sitcom. For all of the creative liberties that they take, for some reason, they just end up making the characters worse. It's always very odd to me that they have all the source material that they would need from the comics, and then they don't do anything with it. It's not bad to try to overhaul a character a little bit, maybe put a little bit of spice on them, but then just completely not even putting the character on the screen is something totally different. Speaking of taking creative liberties, Ironheart, they 100% should have tried to overhaul this character, because her origin story isn't anything crazy. If you've watched the show or at least know what goes on a little bit, it's pretty much the same, just excluding the part that Iron Man is dead. And I wanna make sure that this is clear. The comics and the MCU have no correlation whatsoever, but they like to do this thing where they imply some stuff, or they'll have something from the comics in the MCU that they haven't established. But this is one of the few times that this works, simply because this is how this character is in the comics as well. She's just like your typical tech genius at a very young age, builds an Iron Man suit, becomes the new Iron Man. I'm not even joking, really. There aren't any crazy motives. It's not like she's Iron Man's disciple. But the presentation of the overall story, once again, agenda. The weirdest thing about this is that the two shows I've mentioned so far have had women as the lead writers, but somehow they missed the mark on everything that people want and check the boxes of nothing that anyone wants. Well, anyone except for like a handful of people who probably aren't the demographic for superhero movies anyway. Let's go back to Spider-Man. Let's take the Spider-Man films for example. Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. I'm gonna use Tobey Maguire's films. I don't know why I say that like he's the producer. But let's use Tobey's version of Spider-Man. The first movie, that's pretty much his origin. That's him learning how to use his powers. Second movie, he's getting the hang of it. He's getting better. Then by the third movie, he's basically mastered it. By the end of the movie, he is Spider-Man. That's a whole 3 movies worth of backstory for him, or at least character building. I mean, he's a flawed character. He grows. He goes through some hardships, and then in the end, he becomes Spider-Man. But for female heroes specifically, recently, it's just they want to expedite that so quickly, and I have no idea why. I don't know if it's because they don't want to have any type of imagery of women looking weak, or if this is just some sort of fanfic or something. I have no idea. But we're getting off track. Riri. From now on, I'm probably just gonna call her Ree, since that's a lot easier to say. Ree, her character, well, the entire writing of the series is bad, but her character specifically is the I'm a hero, I do no wrong, while she constantly does wrong and takes up for none of her actions, because no one really points it out to her either. Nor does the movie ever acknowledge any of her flaws. And I shit you not, there were 3 things in this show that made me lose all hope for any type of redemption for her character. I don't think she's gonna show up ever again. One, the what's up black people. I don't know what that one was about. I mean, it's kind of funny.
Hey, black people.
But I have no idea what that was about. When she builds when she makes an AI hologram of her friend, and she asks, "Is that you?" And the hologram responds,
Natalie? Well, who the hell else would it be, bitch?
and then they literally said the words, the most cliche shit they could have ever put. I cannot for the life of me remember it verbatim, but it was just you're a strong, independent black woman. That's what they said, 99% verbatim.
You a strong, independent woman, but you ain't that strong.
This show would have been one of those perfect times for you to do an overhaul of character and make them your own, and not one. You don't follow the comics on Ironheart. Just don't use her character from the comics. And 2, don't fucking use an agenda for her, because with Iron Man dying in the MCU, you know damn well they want another Iron Man to milk. And bro, Iron Man, he got years, multiple movies for his character, and then this replacement for him, nothing, absolutely nothing. I suppose we can talk about Wakanda Forever as well. I'll be honest with you, I can barely remember that shit. I remember this one nigga had wings on his feet, and that's it. That should tell you a lot about how memorable that movie was and how well it did for the next iteration of Black Panther. Supergirl, recent release, definitely way more recent than the other ones that I've been talking about. And funnily enough, they don't follow the shtick that the last 2 do, if you want to call it a shtick. But I should add that this is the DCU and not the MCU. I feel like the MCU is usually the one with the woke stuff trying to be put in. But if I'm being honest, Supergirl is probably not even probably. It's better than the last 3 that I've just mentioned. I mean, I think it's a fairly mediocre movie, but it does what the other ones don't, which is actually just make a movie for the character, and actually makes her flawed. It 100% makes her so different from Superman, because Superman, he is the superhero. When you think superhero, Superman is basically top of the chart. He is perfect. He's literally a Superman with basically invincibility and all the powers. He even has just like a good personality, very heroic. And then Supergirl, the way she's portrayed in this movie, she's a slob, she's reckless, she's drinking, and I don't say any of that to be like demeaning or anything. I'd say that this is a really good take on Supergirl. Very interesting, especially when you consider the last 3 that we just went over, with them trying to be very perfect. And I do think that the movie has potential. Like give it like 2 more movies, and if they were to change the writing a tad bit, because this specific type of writing isn't anything exclusive for the female heroes or anything. it's really mostly popularized by Marvel, where they don't take a lot of things seriously and they opt in for a lot of flashy fights and funny moments. Or at the very least, just not serious moments. This could have been a really good movie if it was more grounded, more down to earth. And if we got to see more of Supergirl just trying to be her. Be her in a more serious way instead of just like party girl. Like, there is definitely very poor reception to this movie. But if you give it like maybe 2 more movies and they get their shit together and really try to write this could be so good. Because say what you will about the movie, it was about Supergirl. Now that's crazy that's the bar, that's a good bar to reach. But I just don't see this getting a second installment or anything. On the bright side, we did get the Supergirl show. I remember watching it. I don't remember watching it though, and I don't believe that that's a part of the DCU. But out of all these movies, Supergirl was 100% the best one, but it's still not good simply because of the writing. And that's really the only reason, which is good. But overall, what I'm trying to say is that they're not doing a very good job at introducing these characters. They're not giving them enough time to build. They're not giving them enough time to cook, to actually become whatever their title is. If they're the next Iron Man, give them time to become Ironheart. Don't just let them come out the gate as Ironheart. If they're She-Hulk, give them time to become She-Hulk. Give them time to become the new Black Panther. This shit never happened in just one movie before. Like, they got the powers in one movie, sure, but it took time for them to master it, to become the hero. Video is pretty much over now. I'm just gonna nitpick a little bit. She-Hulk, I fucking hate the design that they chose. I get that it's not a very high budget show or anything, but I'm not talking about the actress either. I'm literally talking about whatever they did to make She-Hulk. It looks like the actress, but elongated, slightly inflated for the muscles, well, quote unquote muscles, and then painted green. Like she doesn't actually have muscles. It just looks like they took the actor and then painted her skin green. Wakanda Forever. Man, I don't really have anything to say about the acting, but that build just is not for the female Black Panther, yo. In the comics, she's not that buff either. She's a fairly lithe woman. But I don't know, man. I'm just saying you should probably hold the actors to the same standard across the board. Because I know for basically almost all the male heroes, they have to keep in shape. You can't just pull up to the set one day with a whole beer gut and expect to actually play Thor. They're about to cast someone else. I'm just saying, yo, like maybe a little diet plan that would include a little bit more meat, some protein, a workout regimen. I have no idea, yo. And don't misunderstand, I genuinely do not care what they look like. But I'm just saying, fair is fair. If Thor and Captain America's actors have to stay in shape to play their characters, someone should have to get into shape or get buff enough to play the other character. Anyway, yeah, that's about it. That's about it. You feel me?